Hello, I'm Katie Steele, Southwest Climate Hub Coordinator and Director of the ARID Project at New Mexico State University.
And I'm Tanya Burnett, the Education and Outreach Specialist at the National Drought Mitigation Center at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln.
And I'm Julie Elliott, here today to walk you through the current GrassCast maps for the Southwest. I recently retired from the Natural Resources Conservation Service as a rangeland management specialist.
There's a whole bunch of collaborators that make GrassCast possible, and the slide you can see right now is a quick tour of their logos.
Today, we're going to discuss the GrassCast forecast for the Southwest, specifically the states of Arizona and New Mexico. Just a reminder that GrassCast is a tool that gives you forage forecasts for the growing season. And when you go to the tool, you're going to see the three maps that we're showing right now. Each map considers a different weather pattern for the growing season. Julie will be explaining how to best pick which map works for your location shortly.
We usually look at the seasonal climate outlooks from the National Weather Service at this point, but the latest version of these is going to be released after we record this video on July 15th. So we'll just remind you from last time that the June 15th 3-month outlook suggested a pretty high probability of above average temperatures. Well, I think they got that one right for sure. There was also indicated a leaning below average precipitation for an area over the southwest of Arizona, and equal chances of above or below average precipitation for the rest of the southwest area. So really what this translates to is from June 15th, we really don't know what the precip's going to do over the monsoon season. So let's see what they're saying on July 15th next time.
For more detailed information about GrassCast, please see the June 16th video on the Southwest Climate Hub YouTube channel. Those of you in eastern New Mexico will have to decide if you have a continuous growing season, starts in the spring and runs through the fall, or if you have two distinct growing seasons with virtually no overlap between the spring grasses and the summer grasses. If your growing season is continuous, you will want to look at the Great Plains GrassCast video and maps, whereas if you have two distinct growing seasons, then this video is for you.
Julie, how have the summer growing season conditions been so far in the Southwest?
In a word, Tanya, terrible. Nearly all of Arizona and 3/4 of New Mexico have seen less than 50% of the 1980 to 2022 precipitation since June 1st. There are two areas of exception, shown notably here in bright green, the Northwest Arizona and Northeast New Mexico, where some lucky folks have been able to hold on to the moisture that started here in June 12th. You can see the cumulative precipitation. There were all these areas in green that were well above average precipitation for that time period. But by the time we reached July 12th or July 10th, the precipitation has narrowed down to just this little circle here in the Northwest Arizona and a little bigger blob in Northeast New Mexico that have managed to hold on to that above average precipitation for the time period of the summer, starting June 1st to the current date. But surprisingly, GrassCast is not as gloomy as the precipitation maps. Here are the three GrassCast maps, and there's still quite a bit of blue, indicating a forecast of above average production compared to the long-term average expected production.
So let's have a look at each of these maps individually, Julie.
Absolutely, Katie. If the rains start coming again and the summer ends up being above average, GrassCast expects pretty much all of Arizona and New Mexico to see above average production, except for poor Eddy County down here in New Mexico. Here, summer grass losses could be as much as 15 to 30% of expected production, as explained or as shown by the orange color. The yellow areas surrounding that orange represent a 5 to 15% loss in production. Everywhere else is sitting pretty good, with near average to 30% or more production than the long-term average, as indicated by these dark blue colors.
Julie, I recall seeing a lot of the yellow in that middle map. or near average precipitation?
You remember correctly, Tanya. It's going to take a very good monsoon season to correct the huge precipitation deficit that the Southwest has accumulated this summer. All that blue from the previous forecast is virtually erased, except in those lucky areas that are relishing in well above average precipitation accumulation for the summer up here in Arizona and then the northeast corner of New Mexico. Not surprisingly, Eddy County, which isn't even good in above average precipitation prediction, falls into serious production deficit zone of 30% or more loss if they can manage to get near average precipitation. There's a significant amount of country in the 15 to 30% loss category, as indicated by the orange, and even more in this yellow color, which is the 5 to 15% loss category. Green is near average production expected, and there's still some holdouts for that near average production.
So Julie, I guess we're not going to get any surprises if we take a look at the below average precipitation outlook map.
Exactly, Katie. No one will be surprised to hear that if the monsoons don't come through, the Southwest is going to see a deep loss of summer grass production. Even the areas that had seen above average precipitation so far this summer slide back significantly, although most of the northeast corner of New Mexico still manages to hold on to near or even slightly above average production, as well as a few areas in Arizona. Everyone else slides back one category, although some parts of southern Arizona slide back too, from the 5 to 15% loss to the 30% or more loss category. Now remember, these are forecasts, so each of you needs to consider the current precipitation trend, the health and the production of your rangeland, and other information sources before you take any drastic actions. Those of you in areas where a loss is predicted, especially in near average conditions, might want to be paying a little closer attention to your rangeland and even making or probably implementing a plan for what you will do if the spigot doesn't get turned back on soon.
Thank you, Julie, so much for the updates. I just wanted to give everybody a quick reminder that GrassCast is forecasting total production, not grazable production. When a loss is expected, the grazable production loss will be significantly more than the total production loss. When an excess is expected, one needs to consider if that excess will be made up of grass species that are tasty to animals and when they are actually tasty to them.
So you can go to grasscast.unl.edu, or you can just type GrassCast into your favorite search engine to find the GrassCast website. On the website, you can access the zoomable feature that will let you see more specific information about your area, including how much precipitation has been received so far at your location and how much more precipitation the forecast model expects will fall where you are. So take a look at the pixel in which your place is located and compare this across the 3 different maps so you can decide which map works best for you. There are also several videos and tutorials that can help you interpret the maps. Thanks, Julie, for your input on the most recent version of the Southwest GrassCast projections. Really appreciate your help in interpreting the maps.
Thank you very much, Katie, for having me.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.